Yes, small privileges. Alfred Sant.
Welcome, Edward, to a committee which you know very well. I'd like to keep within the logic of bending, breaking, updating rules, actually, if you don't mind. For a main problem in generating high rates of economic growth in the Eurozone remains the low level of investment, both public and private. Actually, as much private investment rides piggyback on public investment. So low levels of public investment imply lower levels of private commitment. The Juncker plan has tried to provide a response to this problem, but it obviously falls far short of what is required. SGP rules as drafted at present treat capital investment by governments on the same basis as recurrent expenditures. The trend has therefore been to sacrifice capital expenditures in order to retain levels of recurrent expenditures, mostly for political reasons, but not only for political reasons. What would you think about the introduction of such a golden rule that has already been mentioned, which would allow net public investment not to be counted in the deficit measures of the SGP? There is a huge political resistance to such an update, but is there room for it to be technically feasible without disrupting stability criteria, in your view?
Regarding the private versus public, I mean, public is collectively, and we would like as much as possible where there are cases of market failure. But finally, whether it's private or public, is the quality of investment. And I think more emphasis and should be on the quality of public investment rather than just the quantity. Regarding the golden rule, as president of the ECOFIN, we have a structure involved. There's a process involved, and it has to be discussed within the agreed framework. So it's not what I think. I think it doesn't matter. There's the EFC. There's the whole structure where this proposal, so to speak, can be put there and work in it. But whatever happens, we cannot just go off. And this refers back to Hockmark's remarks, that we have to work within the agreed format, but it does not exclude that we do not address it.
Follow up? You have time, if you wish.
Yes, a follow-up from this perspective. Don't you realize, though, that the way investment and recurrent expenditures and public budgets are being treated, capital investment is treated the same as recurrent expenditure under current rules. So any finance minister, yourself included, will have every incentive to cut on public investment in order to preserve recurrent expenditures, and that is very dangerous. What is happening is SGP rules are being observed simply by cutting on public expenditures, public investment.
As I said, what I personally think is another matter. I mean, personally, I could agree with that, but the point is that it's the remit of the national governments and the national parliaments when they discuss the budget to discuss that. According to our rules, we are at the moment looking back and reviewing, and nothing would stop. I mean, we discuss in ECOFIN in Amsterdam, for example, about whether the rule should change, instead of a deficit rule, have an expenditure rule. So there's nothing stopping us, so to speak, to look at other rules, because that would be another rule within this agreed framework. So, as I said, it's not what I think, but there is space for, when we come to revise these rules, because at the moment they are basically the debt and the deficit rule. There is a weak sort of expenditure rule, but there's nothing stopping when we review that to also consider your proposal.
Thank you very much. Technically, there is an investment rule, but it's narrow. That's the point. So it's there, but it's narrow. But it's there. So, but it's narrow, of course. Werner Langen.
Ja, Herr Minister.
Minister, thank you very much for being with us this morning. Thanks for being here in your capacity as Finance Minister of Malta to work very intensively together with the Parliament. I've got 2 points for you. First of all, the issue that the Maltese government wanted to publish the tax rulings, but on the other tax agreement,